he himself would say, likewise Sheikh bin Baz would say, I am Hanbali in fiqh, but not by way of blind following. I'm Hanbali in fiqh, but not by way of blind following. Meaning that if something from the madhab contradicts clear-cut evidence that has come within the kitab or the sunnah, then they would leave their own madhab and go with the evidence. And this is what the imams of those madhab taught their students. Right? You can find many statements. Shaykh al-Albani, he brings many such statements at the beginning of Sifat Salat al-Nabi. Statements from Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad, Imam Abu Hanifa, indicating that if ever a statement comes to you from me that contradicts the sunnah, take my statement and toss it against the wall. Right? Leave my statement. For that hadith, that is my madhab. Whatever the case may be. So this is what the imams themselves taught their students and cultivated them upon clinging to the evidence. Now, clinging to the evidence. So Imam Muhammad ibn Abdul-Wahhab, he was upon this way. He was upon this methodology. Now, even though he was Hanbali in fiqh, now he would leave his own madhab if ever his madhab contradicted the evidence. Now, so Shaykh Salih, he says that كان الشيخ تتلمذ على مذهب الحنابلة. He was a student of the Hanbali madhab. He himself was Hanbali. ولا يجمد على مذهب الحنابلة. And he was not someone who was staunch and strict upon it, meaning that he was a person who had ta'assub for a madhab. Because this is what you find. This is what has actually been criticized in our religion. What you find from some of the proponents and the followers of the madhab is this type of level of blind following. A blind following of the madhab. This is what is considered to be blameworthy. Simply following, making ittiba' of one of the imams, right? Because you have taqleed and you have ittiba'. Taqleed, taqleed itself is upon different levels, as we're going to see inshallah ta'ala, that which is to come. Now, but that taqleed al-a'ma, that bigoted type of blind following, this is what is criticized, this is what is considered blameworthy in the religion of Al-Islam. And that is that you follow the madhab even when it contradicts the evidence. Even when it contradicts what has come in the book and the sunnah, you will toss the book and the sunnah to the side for the statement of your imam. This is something which is blameworthy in our religion. Now, but making ittiba', reasoned following. Reasoned following, meaning that you understand the evidence of that sheikh and you follow them where they are correct. This is something which is from our methodology. And this is what the sheikh was on, and this is that which our scholars cultivate us upon. Now, taken from all of the righteous imams and ulama where they are correct. If they are incorrect in anything, then we don't accept a statement that's incorrect, no matter who it's from. No matter who it's from. Now, and while maintaining the love and the respect for our sheikh, for our teachers and the likes of that, but respectfully, that statement is wrong, I'm not going to accept it. It respectfully is wrong, I'm not going to accept it. Now, so the sheikh, he says that the sheikh, that he was Hanbali in fiqh, but he was not bigoted. He was not bigoted for the madhab of the Hanabila. بل يأخذ ما يقوم عليه الدليل. Rather, he would take that which the evidence establishes. He would take that which the dalil establishes. من madhab al-Shafi'i, from the madhab of Imam al-Shafi'i, or the madhab of Imam Malik, or the madhab of Abu Hanifa. هذا منهج الشيخ. This is what the sheikh was upon in terms of his methodology. وهو في الأصل على madhab al-Imam Ahmad. But his foundation, his basis, was that he was upon the madhab of Imam Ahmad. Right, as we said, many of the mashayikh of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, from the time of the sheikh and thereafter, now they are upon the madhab of Imam Ahmad in terms of fiqh. Now, as this was the preponderant madhab during that time, so that which was preponderant in their land during that time, like you'll find in Misr, for example, in Egypt, the preponderant madhab there amongst the followers of the madhab is that of Imam al-Shafi'i, due to the fact that Imam al-Shafi'i spent a lot of time in Egypt. So you find that many of the mashayikh there, in terms of fiqh, many of them are upon the fiqh of Imam al-Shafi'i. And it's like this in various lands of the Muslims. Now, he says that ولكن في الإفتاء يأخذ ما ترجح بالدليل. He says that now at his basis, at his foundation, he was upon the madhab of Imam Ahmad. However, when it comes to iftah, when it comes to giving fatwa, whenever the Shaykh he would give fatwa, now he would take the strongest position based upon the evidence. So why min madhab Imam Ahmad, whether that position may be for the madhab of Imam Ahmad or other than him from the Imams. لا يتعصب وإنما يريد الحق. He was not someone who was bigoted. He was not someone who was bigoted in terms of the following of his madhab to the point that he rejected evidence. However, he desired the truth. He desired the truth. And again, this is what you find from the Imams themselves. Imam Ahmad, Imam Abu Hanifa, and other than them. For example, you'll find, if you read the books of fiqh, they will mention the positions of the various Imams. They will say that this is likewise a statement of Imam Ahmad based upon one of the two statements from him. How do we understand that, right? Based upon one of the two statements from him. Meaning that you may find one statement from Imam Ahmad saying this, and another statement from Imam Ahmad saying something different. Why is this? It's not that he would contradict himself. It was due to his sincerity. Due to his sincerity, he would be up on one position, and then some new knowledge comes to him, some other information comes to him, and out of his sincerity, he would change his position. Out of his sincerity, he would change his position. Now, and so he mentions that he did not make ta'assub, rather he wanted the truth. He wanted the truth. هذا منهجه. This is his methodology في الفتوى والتعليم. When it came down to fatwa, when it came down to issuing religious verdicts, and when it comes down to teaching his students, he would teach them like this. He would give them a broad view in terms of the sources of knowledge and the likes of this, teaching them that we are to take from all of the Imams where they are correct. يأخذ بما ترجح بالدليل. He would take that which the evidence proves to be the stronger position. من أي مذهب من المذاهب الأربعة, from whatever of the four madhab the truth happens to be with. لكنه لا يخرج عن المذاهب الأربعة, but he would not depart from the four madhab. And he would not just make up things from himself. He would not just take some shadh, some divergent position and the likes of this. And he generally stuck within the scope and the realm of the four madhab. فقال ابن سحين. So the statement of Ibn Sahin, إن الشيخ مبتل كتب المذاهب الأربعة, that the Shaykh, he invalidates the books of the four madhab. He says, هذا كذب, it's a lie upon the Shaykh. Why? Because the Shaykh, he would not depart and go outside of the four madhab. All right, you leave there, where you're going to go? You leave one of the positions of the four Imams, where you're going to go? Now, so he would not depart from that. بل هو يستفيد منها ويفتي بما ترجح بالدليل منها. Rather, he would benefit from the four madhab, and whenever he issued religious verdicts in terms of fiqh, you would find him somewhere within the scope of the realm of the four madhab. Now, he says, and taking that which the evidence proves to be the stronger viewpoint from the position of the four Imams. سواء وافق مذهبه, whether that may correspond with his own madhab, that of the Hanabila, or it did not correspond with his own madhab. لأنه يريد الحق. Why? Because he wanted the truth and desired the truth. قوله, so the statement of Ibn Sahin when he said he attributed to the Shaykh that the people from 600 years before his time up to his time, ليسوا على شيء, they're not upon nothing. They're not upon nothing. It's another lie, another slander that Ibn Sahin placed upon the Shaykh, that the Shaykh, he said this. يعني أنه يكافر الناس, meaning that he made takfir of the people. You'll find that the ulama of Ahl Sunnah are the most distant of the people in terms of takfir. When it comes to making takfir upon the people, they are the most distant of the people from that. Our methodology, our way as Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we are the most distant of the people from that. While at the same time, we do call a spade a spade. At the same time, we will call a spade if the evidence proves and necessitates that a particular person is a kafir, then we call him a kafir, because the evidence has proven that. Now, the evidence from the book and the sunnah proves that whoever says such a statement or whoever does such an action is the kafir. Now, Prophet Muhammad said, alayhi as-salam, al-ahad alladhi baynana wa baynahum as-salam man tarakaha faqad kafar. The covenant between us and them is the prayer. Whoever abandons the prayer, he's a kafir, he disbelieved. The evidence called him that. It's not something that we come with from ourselves. Now, but when it comes down to just making takfir upon the people like the Khawarij do, right, because of sins and the likes of this, because we disagree with the person and so on and so forth, then we are the most distant of the people from the madhab of the Khawarij. Now, in terms of takfir, in terms of tabdir, making rulings upon people that they're mubtadi'ah, and the likes of this, just based upon our desires and our whims, we're the most distant of the people from that. And the Shaykh, likewise, being from Ahlul Sunnah, he's the most distant of the people from that. Even though the people would lie upon him and say that he makes takfir of the Muslims. Now, and why would they say that? Because the Shaykh called the pure Tawheed. And he warned against shirk. Now, he warned against kufr and all of its various manifestations. And again, based upon the methodology of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, if the evidence proves and necessitates that a particular action, he wrote a whole book about it, Nawaqid al-Islam, right? He wrote a whole book about what nullifies a person's Islam, clarifying that these things will take you outside the full level of Islam. But you have his enemies that will come along and say, okay, he makes takfir of the Muslims. Why? Because you find many of them, they did those things that were mentioned in Nawaqid al-Islam. They would do those things. Right? They would go to the graves and make dua to the people inside the graves. They would set up intermediaries between themselves and Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Meaning that the people, they were engaged in sihr and magic and the likes of this. And these things are kufr. So they would say, what? The Shaykh, he makes takfir of Muslims. No, he makes takfir of those who the Quran and the Sunnah makes takfir upon. As far as just declaring people to be disbelievers and the likes of this, like the Khawarij do, then you find the Shaykh to be the most distant of the people from that. Even to the point that you may have a person who may actually do an action of kufr. They may actually do an action of kufr, but the Shaykh, he would be slow in issuing a ruling upon that person. Why? Because certain conditions have to be fulfilled first. Certain preventative factors have to be removed before a ruling can be made upon a specific person. All right. Prime example, as a Shaykh Abdul-Wahhab al-Badr, he mentioned on one occasion that he was traveling somewhere for da'wah. We mentioned this story to the brothers before, I believe, how the Shaykh, he was traveling somewhere for da'wah. And the time for the prayer came in between his lectures. So when the time for the prayer came, he prayed next to a man, and the man in his prayer was crying intensely in salat. He was weeping. And the Shaykh, he said that he was crying so much that his crying affected me, and I started crying. He said that, but through the course of his prayer, he heard the man say, Ya Muhammad, Ya Muhammad. Making dua to who? The Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam, making dua to the Prophet. That's what? It's shirk. It's shirk, right? What did the Shaykh do? Did the Shaykh, he said, hey, you kafir, you know? No. The Shaykh, he waited patiently. After the prayer, he went to the man. He greeted him with salams, made small talk with him. Kayf halak? Kayf al-aila? How's your family? How you doing? You know, so where you from? And like this. Hey, by the way, I heard you in your prayer crying, so on and so forth, and then you made dua to the Messenger of Allah alayhi wasallam. Then he clarified to him that dua is ibadah, it's the right of Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. He mentioned evidence to him from the book and the sunnah, and the man was thankful. He said, I never knew any of this. I never knew any of this, right? Until you told it to me just now. So this is what it means. A person may do a clear-cut action of kufr, but does he know that it's kufr? Right? Has anybody ever explained this to him before? Does he understand it? Did he do it intentionally? Was there some reason that he did it? And like this, right? So even with all of that, you find the Shaykh still to be slow in making a ruling upon a particular person, as shall come later inside the book, inshallah ta'ala, when she clarifies this particular issue. Now, but as for, again, making takfir upon the people like the Khawarij do, then you find Ahlul Sunnah to be the most distant of the people from that, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. He says, هذا من افتراءات ابن سحين أن الشيخ يكفر الناس. This is from the slanders of Ibn Sahin that the Shaykh makes takfir upon the people. وَلِمَاذَا يُكَفِّرُ النَّاسِ. And so why are they saying that he makes takfir upon the people? لِأَنَّهُ يَدْعُو إِلَى التَّوْحِيدِ, because he calls to Tawheed. Because he calls to At-Tawheed. وَيَنْهَى عَنِ الشِّرْكِ, and he warns or he prohibits polytheism. فَهُمْ يَزْعَمُونَ أَنَّهُ بِهَذَا يُكَفِّرُ النَّاسِ. So by way of this, they claim that the Shaykh makes takfir of the people. وَهُوَ إِنَّمَا يَدْعُو إِلَى التَّوْحِيدِ. But rather the Shaykh, he only calls to the affair of Tawheed, and he warns and prohibits polytheism. وَهُوَ مَا كَفَرَ إِلَّا مَنْ ثَبَتَ كُفْرَهُ بِالدَّلِيلِ. He does not make takfir upon anyone except the one who the evidence, Kitab and the Sunnah, establishes his disbelief. If the Kitab and the Sunnah establishes this person as disbelieved, then okay, we speak with what is in the Kitab and the Sunnah. We speak with what is in the Kitab and the Sunnah. Now, كما جاء في النواقض العشرة التي كتبها, as has come regarding those 10 nullifiers, which we alluded to earlier, that the Shaykh, he authored the nullifiers of Al-Islam. You find, and these 10 nullifiers that I mentioned here, they are not, it's not restricted to these 10. It's not restricted to the 10, but as the Shaykh, he says at the end of the book, that had in nawaqid, they are the most, these nullifiers are the most dangerous of the nullifiers, and they are the most frequently fallen into. They are the most frequently fallen into. Besides this, there are other nullifiers besides those 10. Now, and so if the evidence establishes that a person has become a disbeliever, then again, we speak with the evidence. We speak with what the Kitab says. We speak with what the Sunnah says. Aside from this, we don't make takfir upon the people based upon our own desires. This is where we will stop, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, and we will pick up from the next point in the next sitting. Allah ta'ala knows best. Hada wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barik ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.